Solving Multi-Step Equations, Part 1. In today's lesson, students will review how to solve multi-step equations with variables on one side of the equal sign. On what? One side of the equal sign. Very good. Before we begin solving multi-step equations, we need to review some vocabulary that you need to know in order to talk about this equation. So the first word is term. Everybody say that word, term. Term is either talking about numbers or numbers that are married to letters. So let's talk about the blue terms that you see, okay? And let's underline them. So this equation reads, read it with me. This is number 1 on your sheet. It says negative 4x minus 6 plus 3x equals 8. Well, I want you to go ahead and underline the blue terms, okay? So these terms are called linear terms. Linear term has an x attached to it. So this is what family? It's the x family. And whenever you have two family members, they want to get together, okay? So you have negative 4x and 3x. Well, if you just take a look at the coefficient that is in front of x. Now, coefficient, go ahead and say it with me. I think I spelled that right. Coefficient. A coefficient is going to be the number that is either by itself or touching x. So look at the coefficients in front of the x. We have a negative 4 and a positive 3. Okay, those are the numbers that you work with in order to get those terms together. Whenever you see two terms with the same last name, whenever you see what? Two terms with the same last name, and here the last name is x. You have to do this. You have to combine like terms. Okay, do it with me. Say combine like terms. Because you have to get the x's together before you could solve for x by itself. Okay, so you have terms and coefficients. And remember, you always want to combine like terms. All right. So the blue terms we're going to work with first. That's the very first step. Work with the terms with the letters, okay, or the linear terms. So we have a negative 4 and a positive 3. Please don't tell me that that is 1, because it's not 1. If you have a negative 4 and a positive 3, you have different signs, right? So we say, okay, well, negative 4 and positive 3, they're different signs. So you have to do what? You have to subtract, right? And what's the sign of the bigger number? The bigger number is 4. So you're left with negative 1, okay? So you're left with negative 1x. Very good, negative 1x. Then we're going to go ahead, bring down the brown terms or the coefficients, right? Coefficients are just numbers. Now that we combine like terms, what did we do? We took these two terms and we said combine like terms. You can solve for x. So now that x is by itself, you can solve for x. You can do what? Okay, in order to solve for x, go ahead and circle the one term that you made. Okay, and now you're going to make a T-bone steak. What we're really doing here is we're combining like terms again with the brown numbers. And what do you have to do to both sides? What's the opposite of negative 6? Positive 6. Very good. Okay, so negative 6 and positive 6 make 0. Bring down the negative 1x. So now we have negative 1x equals, what is 8 plus 6? 8 plus 6, people. 8 plus 6 is 14. That is correct. Okay, so now we have that negative 1x equals 14. Well, what does that mean? What do you think you have to do? Because negative 1 is married to Miss X. And Miss X doesn't want to be with him anymore because he is negative. So what do you have to do? You have to get a divorce. So you divide both sides by negative 1. All right, so now negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. You're left with x equals 14 divided by negative 1. Okay, you have a positive divided by a negative. You're left with negative 14. Okay, that's exactly right. Okay, so let's take a look at another example where we have to combine like terms. Let's take a look at number 3, okay, on your paper. So we did number 1, now we're going to do number 3. Read the equation with me. It says negative 19 plus 4x minus 6x equals 5. Okay, so what are we going to look for first? We're going to take a look at the linear terms, the terms that are married to x, yes? And we're going to underline the coefficients that are multiplied by x. So we have a positive 4 and a negative 6. Okay, so we're going to, since there's 2 terms with the same last name, we're going to combine like terms. What are we going to do? Combine like terms. Very good. So when you combine like terms, you have a positive 4 and a negative 6. Okay, so we say positive 4 and negative 6. Well, do they have the same signs or different signs? Right? Different signs, subtract, stop. If I said different signs, subtract, what are you going to do? You're going to take 6 and you're going to subtract 4. Is that right? You're going to say, what's 6 minus 4? Okay. Okay, it's 2. But what's the sign of the bigger number? Right? If you're at 4 and you take away 6, you're going to end up at negative what? You're going to end up at negative 2. But it's not just negative 2 because it's married to x. So it's negative 2x. Okay, then you're going to bring down the coefficients, which are just the numbers, and then you can solve for x because now you just have one term that has x. So when you solve for x, you make a T-bone steak. Take a look at the number, the coefficient that is next to this term. What is it? It's negative what? It's negative 19. So if you want to get rid of negative 19 and you want to combine the brown terms, what do? What's the opposite of negative 19? Positive 19. That's correct. Positive 19. Oop. Okay, when you line up 19, I know that we're not used to doing this. Make sure that the 9, which is the ones place, lines up with a 5. Okay? I know. All right, so what is 19 plus 5? Well, first, what's 9 plus 5? I want you to think about, well, what's 10 plus 5? What's 10 plus 5? Anytime you have 10 and you add 5, it's just 1 and this number. It's 15. Okay, what's 15 minus 1? It's 14. So 9 plus 5 is like 10 plus 5, which is 15, but then you take away 1. So this is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Very good. Okay, we forgot. Negative 19 and positive 19 make 0. Bring down the negative 2x. So now you're saying that negative 2x equals 24. All right, you're going to divide now both sides by what? Whatever is touching x, that's what's married to x. X wants to be single because we don't like negative coefficients. Okay, so you divide by negative 2. Okay, negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. You're left with x equals, you have 24 divided by a negative 2. So ask yourself, how many times, if I skip count by 2, do I get to 24? Or what number times 2 is 24? It's 12. But is it positive 12? No, it is not. Because Bob's cousin says, remember my friends, when you have a negative and you divide it by a positive, that's a negative, right? So it's negative 12. The last example we are going to do today is number 5 on your paper. What number is it? 5. Good job. Okay, so again, we have the first thing we're going to do is read the equation. Read it with me. It's negative 5x minus 13 plus x equals 31. Is there an invisible number somewhere? Yes. Whenever you see x, it's really saying 1x. But don't put the 1 over here, silly. Put the 1 in front of the x, right? On the left-hand side. That's where it goes. Okay. So you want to go ahead and underline the coefficients that are touching x. We have 2 terms with x, don't we? We have negative 5x and 1x. So if we have 2, we want to make them 1. What did I say? If we have 2, we want to make them 1. So how do you do that? You do combine like terms. What do? Combine like terms. So negative 5 and positive 1. Okay. Have you noticed a pattern? Are they all different signs? What do you do with different signs? You subtract. Now, 5 take away 1. Jacob, is that 4? No, it's not 4. Why is it not 4? It's because you keep the sign of the bigger number. So if I say 5 take away 1, I keep that negative. So this is going to be negative 4x. Very good. Okay, then you're going to bring down the brown terms, which is negative 13 equals 31. Very nice. All right, so now that you have one linear term, 1x, you can solve for x. And how do you do that? Now you're actually going to combine the coefficients. That's what you're doing. These are like terms, aren't they? So what's the opposite of negative 13? It's positive 13. Very good. All right, negative 13 and positive 13 make 0. Bring down the negative 4x. So now negative 4x equals 31 plus 13. So let's do the ones place. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. Hey, take a look at that. Negative 4x equals 44. Negative 4 is married to x. Now, x needs to be by itself. She wants to be single. So we're going to get rid of who? We're going to divide by negative 4. Very good. So negative 4 and negative 4 make 1. Very important that this is 1. So really, you're left with the single lady x. And we have 44 divided by negative 4. How many times you skip count by 4 to get to 44? Oh, that's 11. But is it positive 11 or negative 11? Okay, take a look. You have a positive divided by a negative gives you what? Negative 11. Okay, very good. So this was a review lesson. 7th graders, you should be watching this video for homework, my friends, and doing your homework. Tomorrow we will learn about how to solve equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. So that's a little bit different. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.